morning. I am Representative Rodney Moore. I represent the 99th District in Mecklenburg County. We are here today as African American legislators from both the House and the Senate, the Upper House and the People's House, to I always have to mess with my good friend Senator Ford, to talk about our support of educational and parental choice across the board in North Carolina. Okay. We stand here today joining our voices for a simple yet powerful statement. We are here to extend our support for educational options for all North Carolina families and students. We stand today to be a voice for the voiceless. Far too often, families and children are left out of the education decision-making process. With that, our support for educational options for all North Carolinians includes parental school choice as a complement to our unwavering support for quality educational institutions across our state, including traditional public schools, public charter schools, private schools, and homeschools. Make no mistake, the bedrock of strong community starts with our schools. And we are here to ensure that every child, let me reiterate, every child receives the best education possible, regardless of his or her zip code or family income. As supporters of education, we stand for North Carolina's 1.5 million students enrolled in public schools and the approximately 100,000 public school teachers who serve to educate those students every day across our state. We must do more for our public schools, and we stand committed to do just that. As supporters of education, we stand for North Carolina's public charter schools, especially those with the mission of providing educational programs aimed at serving socioeconomically disadvantaged students across our state, where we see more growth for these kinds of public schools in the 40 counties that still don't have them. As supporters of education, we stand for North Carolina's Children with Disability Scholarships grants, where families whose child qualifies under this private school program will be provided the resources to find the educational needs that fit them. As supporters of education, we stand for North Carolina's Opportunity Scholarship Program, which is providing educational options to nearly 6,000 low-income families. In closing, and in the spirit of Black History Month, this coalition understands that in North Carolina, you cannot talk about education and education reform without talking about race and politics. It is our hope that by uniting together in support of education for all and for all quality education models, that we begin to bridge the gap that has far too often hindered us. Black versus white students, Democrat versus Republican, and traditional schools versus non-traditional schools. We have come too far and tackled too many challenges to leave a generation of children behind. Today, together, we stand for these children and we will fight for them by any means educationally.
Ed Haynes from Winston-Salem, Forsyth County District 72. First of all, I'd like to take this opportunity to really thank Mr. Darrell Allison for the outstanding work that he's done in bringing this issue to the top for us to take a strong look at. I've had the pleasure of attending law school with Mr. Allison. I've been watching his work and was happy to sign on with him from my first days here in the House. It's the opportunity. It's the same, we want our children to have the same opportunity that many of our parents afforded us when we were growing up in the public schools of North Carolina. As I think about those opportunities, my parents had me attending schools all over the district in order to get into the right school, the right public school to fit me, to fit my skill set and to fit what I needed to grow as a young man. And we were successful doing that. What we have right now, and especially in my district in Winston-Salem, is a city that has largely resegregated itself in our public schools. We have 99% free and reduced lunch schools that are 99% Black and Latino. That is what our elementary schools mostly look like in my district. There are a couple that don't look like that. Those 99% free and reduced lunch schools, they have third grade reading proficiency rates that are in the name of, they're in the range of 11%, 14%, 22%, and one that I visited last week that's around 7 or 8%. I didn't say the average age of the child at the school was 8 years old. I said their third grade reading proficiency is 8%. I want you to let that resonate with you for a second. That is a 92% fail rate. I cannot in good conscience look at any mother or father and tell them that they should be satisfied with that. None of us would invest our money with a broker who had a 92% fail rate. It would not happen, right? And so I think we are in a position now as legislators who come to the point where we recognize that we need to think about thoughtful choice, which I think is what we're doing. We need to approach this in an open manner and as a team, and in a team concept. But when we have failure rates like that in some of our public schools that impact mostly students who look like the folks behind us, we have to take a stand on it, and we have to call attention to this matter. And I am glad to continue to support Mr. Allison and his program here, and continue to support thoughtful choice across the state of North
I
Carolina.
want to thank you for being here. I am Senator Erica Smith Ingram. I represent 8 counties in eastern North Carolina: Bertie, Chowan, Edgecombe, Hertford, Martin, Northampton, Terrell, and Washington counties. I believe, as Miles Monroe once shared, there's a reason why McDonald's can set up shop right beside Hardee's, across the street from Burger King, down the corner from Wendy's or Bojangles. You ever wonder why those companies, same entities, can set up shop right beside each other? It's because of free market and offering choice. I believe that we should have that same choice and same free market in education. I stand today as a parent whose eldest child graduated from Kip Pride High, GCP Charter School in Northampton County. I stand here today as a parent whose younger child did phenomenally well in the traditional public school. I stand today as a public school educator, knowing that we cannot talk about education without being able to reiterate the importance of parents having choice, parents having opportunity, parents having the resources they need to provide the educational environment for their children that is most conducive to their success. I stand today as a parent who at one point in our matriculation had my children in a private school, and resources were very limited. We had to give up a lot of other things to be able to afford that opportunity for my children. I stand today with my colleagues because we must continue to support our traditional public schools, to make sure our 180,000 teachers have adequate pay, that our 1.5 million students have access to resources, technology, and textbooks. It is imperative that we understand at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is, we need educated students in order to have a productive citizenry.
Good afternoon. I'm Senator Ben Clark. I represent Senate District 21, which consists of Polk County and Cumberland County. I support all components that we have out there now: the Opportunity Scholarship Grant, the traditional public schools, the public charter schools, and by the way, I would like to add that Cumberland County is the greatest consumer in the state of the Opportunity Scholarship Grant, and I'd like to thank Mr. Allison for that, and for his efforts in bringing about choice to the state of North Carolina. But we have to remember that at the end of the day, it is about the children, educating the children, because education is a force multiplier that provides opportunity. Without it, our children are doomed, our society is doomed. And we should not just put artificial shackles on choice.
And so right now, I want to introduce Mr. Darrell Allison, the president of Parents for Educational Freedom in North Carolina, a dynamic young man. Darrell, just wanted to say publicly that we've had a journey with one another. It took me a minute to get me here, but now that I'm here, I'm going to go all the way with you. And so let you come to say a few remarks, and thank you for your leadership.
Thank you. Thank you. Absolutely, Laura. I don't take for granted that today, February 28th, marks the end of Black History Month, nor do I consider this exact moment being merely symbolic, as it's more than that. Our organization, Parents for Educational Freedom in North Carolina, will celebrate 12 years in a few months. And though the ideals of parental school choice has been especially acted on legislatively in North Carolina the past few years, our organization has long been doing the work of statewide engagement, long before that time. In fact, we were just as active then in 2005 when Democrats controlled the House, the Senate, and the governor's office. We've never underestimated the real challenges and battles when discussing education and parental school choice in North Carolina, a southern state, because race in politics is intrinsically connected to the subject, no doubt about it. So let's talk about the proverbial literal elephant in the room. Republicans, by and large, have historically embraced parental school choice more than Democrats in our state. However, Parents for Educational Freedom in North Carolina, we've never rested on that. We believe that the ideals of parental school choice cuts across political lines, racial lines, socioeconomic lines. In fact, it's not a Republican thing or a Democratic thing. We believe that it's simply the right thing for families. That is why I personally don't take lightly standing here with these leading African-American legislators, as the words they express are a testament of just how far we've come in looking at K-12 education in North Carolina more comprehensively, especially for our neediest of children. Today is truly historic, and I am so honored and humbled to be standing with each of you today. And again, I thank you, and Representative Moore, thank you so very much for your leadership.